Hello! Welcome to the third and final video in my three-part video series, Rediscovering the Treasure Within Through Meditation. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for watching the first two videos and for all of your engagement and comments and questions. It's been so great hearing from you and hearing about your experiences. I hope you've had a chance to try the exercises that I've given you. In the last video we got really practical and I taught you a particular technique called an internal mantra technique where you had to repeat the I am mantra and use that as your focal point for 20 minutes. So I hope that you tried that. I hope that you had a positive experience. Of course, like I said in the last video, don't expect so quickly to have any profound, amazing experiences. The whole point is to be consistent and to develop a practice. So that's really what today's video is all about. You know, it's easy to try meditation once or twice. What's difficult is to make it a habit and a daily practice, but that's the most important part of a meditation practice, because it's only through consistency that we really experience those profound benefits I spoke about, you know, developing that really solid sense of inner peace and bliss that we're able to access on an everyday basis, and, you know, improving your relationships, your work, your clarity, your focus, that sense of presence, and having that filter out into every aspect of your daily life. So consistency is key. So one of the ways I'm going to talk about how we can actually help to make this a habit, because I know it's not easy. It's really easy for daily life just to get in the way and to forget about it. So it's really important to make it stick, and that's what I want to help you with today. So one of the ways to make it stick with any habit is to first of all get really clear on your why. So the reason why you want to meditate. Whether that is because you want a particular benefit that we talked about, you know, developing that inner strength to cope with life's challenges, whether it's because you suffer from anxiety, whether it's just because you want to bring more peace and harmony and joy into your life, or to reduce stress, whatever it is, get very clear on the big picture, because that big picture is what helps to keep you motivated. So I suggest you have a little think about it. You write it down, or perhaps find a picture that symbolizes that why for you, and put it somewhere where you can see it, so that you're constantly reminding yourself of that bigger picture and why it is you want to dedicate yourself to this practice. The second thing to help you turn it into a daily habit is to schedule it. What isn't scheduled isn't going to happen. So for that reason, I suggest you get a little bit strict with yourself and just pick a time and make that your dedicated time for meditation. So whether that's first thing in the morning or last thing in the evening, it doesn't really matter. Or perhaps you might find, you know, when you just get home from work, that's a really good time to practice, or after the kids have gone to bed, or even at work on your lunch break, whatever. It doesn't really matter what the time is, but just pick a time and stick to it, and then it becomes, you know, much easier to turn it into a habit. Now, I know it's really easy to think, oh, I don't have time, I don't have 20 minutes a day, but let me assure you, we're all busy. We all only have 24 hours in a day, and we have to make time. And when it's something as profound as developing a meditation practice that has so many positive benefits on our life, you know, it's really important to make time. And I'm sure there's probably a few things that you let take up time in your life that maybe aren't necessarily all that worthwhile, whether that's, you know, watching a TV show, or engaging on Facebook or YouTube, or just faffing around, wasting time. I'm sure you can just cut something out to get that time, or just get up 20 minutes earlier. I mean, we're talking 20 minutes, it's really not that much time. If you do, I know that we all have days where things just get crazy and we just don't have time that particular day. So if that happens, the key is to the very next day rededicate yourself to the practice. Don't let it get too many days in a row where you don't practice, or you'll start to lose it. You'll start to lose momentum. So just make sure you rededicate yourself to the practice the very next day as soon as you can. Now, the third thing I want to talk about in terms of helping you to cement this practice into your daily life is cultivating bhakti. So if you haven't heard the word bhakti before, it's another one of those lovely Sanskrit words originating in India. And bhakti means like that real love emanating from the heart for your spiritual practice, that real kind of desire and yearning for some kind of spiritual experience or communion. It's what inspires us and keeps us motivated to practice. So what I suggest is you really try to tap into that yearning that you have for something spiritual. So there's different ways to do this. One way that I keep my bhakti alive is to read books that really inspire me from some of the great teachers. So, I love reading Eckhart Tolle. I love reading an Indian teacher called Ramana Maharishi. There's an excellent Indian book. I'm not going to say his name. It's really difficult to pronounce, but he wrote a book, I Am That. That's very inspiring. Autobiography of a Yogi. That's a great book. Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. And I want to tell you about a free book that you can download, which is phenomenal. It is so good, and for me it just sparks up my bhakti every time I read it. It just shows you the places that meditation can take you, and it's really an amazing book of teachings. And it's called Advanced Yoga Practices. So if you just Google Advanced Yoga Practices, it's by a guy who calls himself Yogani, Yogani. I know you can download it for Kindle. I think all the books all the teachings are actually on the website, and it's a profound book of teachings, and it will actually expand upon the eternal mantra that I've taught you. So that's a great one to keep you inspired. Other things to keep you inspired is anything that engages the right side of the brain, that creative, inspired part of the brain, as opposed to that logical, practical side that we're dealing with day to day. So if you've got any kind of creative hobbies like painting, art, craft, if you like listening to music, anything like that engages the right side of the brain will help kind of keep you on that level that helps you to desire that meditation practice. So that's really important as well. Being out in nature is really important. Having some time for quiet, for journaling, maybe just disengaging from the high-tech world that we live in will help to feed that desire as well. Something else I'd like you to be aware of is what I call the inner saboteur. So what you'll probably find is, especially as you start going with your practice, at first, whenever we start something new, there's a bit of a romance, it's really exciting, and then when it sets into, the daily grind of actually practicing, it's really easy for the mind to start to resist the practice. And meditation is particularly bad because the mind hates meditation. The mind loves to ruminate on problems and think and go off in all these different directions. So meditation is really the antithesis of that, and so the mind will resist meditation in particular very strongly. You'll probably find that you'll think, oh, I should practice, and then the mind will be like, oh, you couldn't possibly today. Do it tomorrow, but not today. Today you've just got too many things to do, or you don't have time today, or you're too tired, or you're too achy. It'll come up with a whole bunch of rubbish excuses. And it's really important that you just be aware of what it is. It's mental resistance because the mind doesn't want to be still. But it's actually so beneficial for the mind to be still and to find that rest. So I really encourage you to notice that it's resistance and just practice anyway. Be consistent. And then another thing I want to talk about is really not so much a practice, but an attitude to develop in terms of your practice. So I want to talk about how sometimes the ego gets involved with our practice. And so sometimes if we're practicing and we feel like, nothing much is happening, we're not really reaching a goal, which, that's not really what meditation is about. But sometimes the ego can start coming in and say, oh, it's not working, oh, you're not good at this. It'll start trying to tear you down. And so what we want is, if nothing's happening, it's no big deal. The key is being consistent and coming back to that practice. Don't let the ego tear you down. On the flip side of that, sometimes when we meditate, we can have some pretty profound, sometimes even far out experiences. You could feel like really intense feelings of bliss or ecstasy that you've never experienced before, and it can be quite amazing. You might experience energetic sensations in the body, tingling, twitching, surges of energy. You might experience, visual, you might see or hear certain experiences. Again, no big deal. It's just what happens. It's just what happens as you start to, I spoke about the cleansing process last time, as you start to cleanse energetically. So don't let the ego build that up and be like, oh wow, I'm so spiritual, look at the experiences I'm having. The experiences aren't important, they're a symptom of the meditation. All you need to do is keep coming back to the mantra and the focus. Don't get distracted by the experiences, and don't get needy of the experiences. Don't feel like you need to have these far out experiences every time you meditate, because they come and go. The practice is all about sticking to the mantra and finding that single point of focus. So if you are able to turn it into a habit, which I really hope you do stick to it, like I said before, it has so many profound benefits on all aspects of your life and your state of being. But one of the most important aspects, especially in the times we live in today, with so much discord, so much war and disharmony, I truly believe that world peace starts with individuals who cultivate peace. And it starts with one person, and then as you develop that inner peace, it radiates out to those around you. It affects everything you do, every interaction that you have. If you start to cultivate this inner peace, it radiates outward. And that's not just, a nice idea. There was actually some experiments done in the 60s in Washington, when transcendental meditation was starting to get really popular. And they did these experiments where they got really large numbers of people to meditate at the same time, for certain nights. And they measured the overall crime rate in the city. And they found, no joke, that the days when there was large amounts of people meditating all at the same time, crime went down. There was an effect, just a subtle, well, not that subtle, a quite dramatic effect, just on the surrounding environment. So I really believe that this is how peace starts. It starts with us and our own lives. It's a really big thing that you're doing for yourself, and you're doing for others and for the world when you take up a meditation practice. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in terms of developing a practice, and something that I think is really important, is once a year to really take yourself out of your daily life and to immerse yourself in a practice. So once a year, basically going into a retreat. So this is what I do. I think I said in the first video, I run a company called Ashima Journeys, and I run retreats in certain areas around the world, particularly the Himalayas of Nepal. And this is what we do. We take ourselves out of our daily life, we go somewhere beautiful and powerful, and we immerse ourselves in our spiritual practice. And taking this time out, this extended period of time out, it gives you a chance to step back, it gives you a chance to get some perspective on your life, and to rededicate yourself to your practice, and to really immerse yourself in deeper teachings. And it inspires you to carry on your practice back into your daily life. So going into a retreat is so important and so beneficial. I've been running retreats for about 5 years, and the changes that I've seen it affect in people's lives are really profound, and it's something that you never forget. So I'd love to tell you a little bit about one of my retreats that are coming up this October 2015. So it's in the Himalayas of Nepal. And if you haven't been to Nepal, I can tell you that it is one of the most special places in the world. The Himalayas have always been a place, it's really where these philosophies came from. Buddhism, Hinduism, yoga, all of the ancient sages and monks, they went to the Himalayas to meditate specifically and to get enlightened. So there's a reason, mountains are have a very spiritual presence. It's a place of power, and it's a place of beauty and quiet as well. We practice not just meditation every day in a group setting, so having that daily practice, with a group and a teacher is really useful. But we also practice yoga every day. Nothing too full on. It's a really quite a gentle restorative type of yoga that's designed to help us with our meditation practice and to just open up the body and open up the breath. So practicing that in conjunction with your meditation just takes it to a whole new level, and we'll do some breathing exercises as well. The places we stay at are beautiful. We stay in 2 gorgeous resorts. The first one is on the outskirts of Kathmandu. Kathmandu is the capital of Nepal. And it's on the outskirts. It's surrounded by farms and hills, and also quite a few holy sites, Buddhist and Hindu holy sites. And then after a few days in Kathmandu, we moved to a beautiful place called Pokhara. So Pokhara is set on a very serene lake, flanked by the Himalayan mountains. The mountains are reflected in the lake. It's such a beautiful place. It's got a really special energy. There's a lot of spiritual activities that go on over there. And both of the places feature Ayurvedic spas. So if you're not familiar with Ayurveda, Ayurveda is like the sister science to yoga, and it's the ancient healing art system that originated in the Himalayas and spread to India and Nepal. And so both of the resorts we stay in have Ayurvedic spas where you can actually engage in some of these ancient therapies and massages and treatments to really, help the body find deep rest and relaxation. So that's available as well. Because I really love travel, I actually designed this retreat so that we're not just kind of cooped up for 10 days in a retreat center. The whole idea is to find that balance between going within but also exploring the surrounding place. Nepal is such a magical place. Like I said, there's temples, there's monasteries, there's incredible nature. We visit all of these places. We go hiking, we visit a school. We do an incredible trip to the top of Sarankat Mountain to witness a Himalayan sunrise. That's something I guarantee you'll never forget. So we do a lot of activities as well, so it's not all just yoga and meditation, and we allow a lot of time for chill out as well, because I know that rest is, it's a rare commodity these days, so it's really important to build in rest and time for just doing nothing. But what we also really do in the retreat is delve deep into the teachings of that area. So I've presented just a fraction of the teachings in this video series. But during the retreat, we dive a lot more into the spiritual philosophy and heritage of Buddhism, yoga, Hinduism. We look a lot more at how we can live our daily life in a more spiritual level. We look at our attitudes, our beliefs, our behaviors. We look at the nature of the ego, that's the false self, compared to the true self, which is that state that we're trying to cultivate in meditation, that inner peace, that bliss. And we really delve deep into yogic philosophy. So the whole point of the retreat is to give you tools and to give you insights that you can take home and implement in your life. It's not just about going there and having a nice time and then forgetting about it. It's about taking teachings and taking the experiences that you have and bringing them home and using them to change your life and live your life in a better, more centered, more balanced way. And of course, the very best thing about our retreat is the group. Every year it blows me away at the beautiful people that come on the retreat, that the retreat just attracts. And it's so special to witness the friendships that begin to blossom in the retreat and continue to blossom long after. I've become friends with so many retreat participants over the years, and friendships have formed within the group, and it's just a beautiful experience, and it's something I think that's missing a lot in our culture. We don't have a lot of community, particularly spiritual community, so it's really important, I think, to connect with people on that level. So anyway, that's the retreat that I wanted to tell you about. It takes place in October. Now, we only take a maximum of 16 people, that's it. But what I wanted to do, because you guys have been through this course with me, as a thank you, I wanted to offer a special discount, which I'm going to offer in the next, in an email that I'll send out shortly. And by all means, if you feel called to join us in Nepal and to take your spiritual practice deeper, then I would love you to join us. So all the details will be in the email, and you can check it out and see what you think. And if you have any questions, by all means, be in touch. So in terms of what I've talked about today, developing a practice, setting a habit, anything that you want to discuss, again, in the Facebook comments, hit me up. I'd love to discuss anything deeper with you, to answer any questions, to hear your feedback, and to just hear how you're going with it all. So by all means, please engage with me in the Facebook comments below. And I just want to thank you so much for watching the videos, and I really, really hope that you implement this new practice into your life, and I know it's going to change your life. It's going to change the lives of those around you. So yeah, please give yourself a chance. Give yourself the best gift you can possibly give yourself. Thank you so much, and namaste.